My beloved child, if these words have reached you today, do not rush away. Stay with me for a moment, because what is about to unfold may explain a feeling you have carried deep inside without ever finding the right words for it. Someone who holds you close in their heart has recently reached a turning point. They stood at the edge of uncertainty, replaying old memories, unanswered questions, and silent emotions. Then something happened that changed the direction of their thoughts completely. They made a decision about you, a decision they have not spoken aloud to anyone. As this unfolds, clarity will come. Every moment of this message is leading toward a revelation that could shift the way you understand this connection. Do not skip ahead, because something huge is waiting for you. For a long time, this person believed that silence was the safest choice. They convinced themselves that waiting was easier than risking disappointment. Yet every passing day only made your absence feel louder. A small reminder, perhaps a familiar place, a forgotten conversation, or an unexpected memory, stirred emotions they had tried to bury. In that quiet moment, they realized they were no longer running from their feelings. Instead, they were running toward the truth. The decision they made was not born from impulse but from deep reflection. They chose to stop allowing fear to control what they truly feel. This may resonate as we continue, because the next part of this story reveals why that decision became impossible for them to ignore. What surprised them most was not how much they cared about you, it was how much they had changed because of you. They began seeing situations differently, valuing honesty more than pride, and understanding that meaningful connections are too rare to be treated carelessly. They finally admitted to themselves that some people enter our lives for a reason that cannot easily be explained. That realization became the foundation of the decision they made. They are no longer asking whether this connection matters. They have already answered that question in their heart. Now a different question remains: what happens next? That answer is closer than it has ever been before. The remarkable part is that this decision did not arrive with dramatic words or grand announcements. It arrived quietly, in a moment of complete honesty. They decided they would no longer allow misunderstandings, assumptions, or old fears to define the future. Whether the path ahead unfolds quickly or gradually, they want the next chapter to be guided by sincerity instead of uncertainty. This realization has brought them unexpected peace, even though they know challenges may still exist. The silence surrounding this decision does not make it less meaningful, it makes it even more powerful because it came from the deepest part of their heart. So remain with this message until the very end, because the story is only beginning. The decision they made is larger than a single moment, it marks the start of a new direction. Every sign, every unexpected coincidence, and every unanswered question has been leading toward this turning point. You may not see the full picture today, but the pieces are beginning to come together. Stay with me for a moment, because in the next chapter, the hidden reason behind this life-changing decision will finally be revealed, and it may be the part that changes everything. Not every important decision is announced with words. Sometimes it is protected in silence until the right moment arrives. Stay with me for a moment, because the truth behind this decision is more meaningful than it first appears. After countless moments of uncertainty, the person you love stopped asking, "What if?" and started asking, "What truly matters?" That single change in perspective transformed everything. As this unfolds, clarity will come. They realize that some connections are too valuable to leave unfinished, and yours was one of them. Something huge is waiting for you, because the reason they reached this conclusion has been hidden beneath the surface all along. What finally opened their eyes was a quiet realization that kept returning no matter how hard they tried to ignore it. Every attempt to move forward without thinking about you somehow led them back to memories they couldn't forget. They began noticing how often your kindness, your presence, or even the lessons they learned through knowing you continued to shape their everyday life. Instead of resisting those feelings, they accepted them. That acceptance became the moment they made their biggest decision. They chose to stop pretending this connection meant less than it truly did. This may resonate as we continue, because the next revelation explains why they believe this chapter is far from over. If this message is speaking to your heart, take a moment to share this video with someone who believes meaningful connections deserve hope. And if you're enjoying this journey, subscribing helps you continue receiving messages like this as new chapters unfold. Sometimes one shared story reaches exactly the person who needs it most, and perhaps today is one of those moments. The most surprising part is that this decision was never about changing who you are. It was about changing who they wanted to become. They understood that real growth begins with honesty, patience, and the courage to face emotions instead of hiding from them. Their heart is no longer searching for excuses, it is searching for understanding. The path ahead may still contain unanswered questions, but they are no longer afraid of those questions. They believe every meaningful journey begins with one sincere decision, and that is exactly the step they have chosen to take. Before the next chapter begins, remember this: not every turning point is visible the moment it happens. Some of the biggest changes begin quietly, long before anyone else notices them. The decision they made has already started shaping what comes next, even if the full picture has not yet appeared. Stay with me for a moment, because in the next chapter, you will discover the unexpected event that gave them the confidence to make this life-changing choice. And it may be the missing piece that connects everything. There is one part of this story that has remained hidden until now. Stay with me for a moment, because this is where everything begins to make sense. After making that quiet decision, the person you love didn't immediately act on it. Instead, they watched. They reflected. They paid attention to every feeling that surfaced whenever your memory crossed their mind. The more they observed their own heart, the more impossible it became to deny one simple truth: this connection had changed them in ways they never expected. As this unfolds, clarity will come, because the next realization became the final piece they had been searching for. Then came a moment they never planned for. In the middle of an ordinary day, something reminded them of a promise they had silently made to themselves long ago: never let fear speak louder than the heart. That thought stayed with them for hours. They realized they had been waiting for the perfect time, but perfect moments rarely arrive on their own. What truly matters is the courage to recognize what deserves your attention before the opportunity quietly passes. This may resonate as we continue, because they finally understood that delaying an important decision can sometimes become the greatest regret of all. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is closer than they ever imagined. What makes this decision so meaningful is that it wasn't driven by emotion alone. It was built on understanding. They began looking back at every misunderstanding, every silence, and every unanswered question from a completely different perspective. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, they started noticing what had remained constant through every season: the respect, the memories, and the feeling that your story was never truly finished. That realization filled them with a calm confidence they had never experienced before. For the first time in a long while, they stopped wondering whether this connection was important and started believing it deserved another chance to unfold naturally. Now the story reaches another turning point. The decision has been made, the doubts have become quieter, and the direction is becoming clearer with every passing day. Yet one final question still remains unanswered. A question that only time can reveal. Will the next step happen sooner than anyone expects, or will life create one more unexpected twist before everything becomes clear? Stay with me for a moment, because the next chapter uncovers the silent sign that convinced them they were finally moving in the right direction, and it may become the most unforgettable revelation of this entire journey. Every meaningful journey reaches a moment when doubt begins to lose its power. Stay with me for a moment, because that moment has finally arrived. The person you love has been quietly noticing small changes around them, moments that seemed ordinary at first but slowly formed a much bigger picture. Each memory, each lesson, and each quiet realization pointed toward the same conclusion. They understood that some people enter our lives for a purpose that cannot be measured by time alone. As this unfolds, clarity will come. The decision they made is no longer just a thought. It has become a direction they are determined to follow. Something huge is waiting for you, because the final piece is now beginning to reveal itself. One evening, while reflecting on everything that had happened, they asked themselves a question they had avoided for far too long: if I remain silent forever, will I always wonder what could have been? That question stayed with them. No matter how many distractions appeared, the answer never changed. They realized that living with honesty brings far more peace than living with endless uncertainty. That realization gave them a quiet confidence they had never felt before. This may resonate as we continue, because sometimes the greatest change begins the moment we stop running from our own heart and choose to face the truth with courage instead. If this story has kept you with me until now, consider sharing it with someone who enjoys uplifting messages like these. And if you want to continue following every new chapter of this journey, subscribing ensures you won't miss what comes next. Every new message builds upon the last, and the most meaningful revelation is still ahead. Now something even more surprising is unfolding. The person you love no longer sees the past as a barrier. Instead, they see it as preparation. Every misunderstanding taught patience. Every period of silence taught appreciation. Every unanswered question taught them the value of sincerity. Because of those lessons, they are no longer focused on what was lost, they are focused on what can still be created. Their decision has become stronger with every passing day, and they are beginning to believe that some stories deserve another opportunity to be written with greater wisdom than before. The journey is almost complete, but one final revelation remains. There is one quiet sign they have noticed again and again, a sign they can no longer ignore. They believe it confirms that their decision was not made in haste but with genuine understanding. Stay with me for a moment, because in the final chapter, that hidden sign will finally be revealed, bringing this remarkable story to its unforgettable conclusion. Everything has led to this final moment. Stay with me for a moment, because the last piece of this story brings the entire journey together. The person you love has finally understood something that once seemed impossible to accept. Genuine connections are not measured by how easy the path has been, but by how deeply they continue to inspire growth, hope, and understanding. As this unfolds, clarity will come. Their decision was never about chasing the past, it was about embracing a wiser future. Something huge is waiting for you, because the truth they discovered has quietly transformed the way they see both you and themselves. The hidden sign they kept noticing was not a dramatic event or an extraordinary coincidence. It was much simpler, and far more powerful. Every time they imagined letting go completely, their heart became restless. But every time they imagined choosing honesty, patience, and kindness, they felt an unexpected sense of peace. That feeling became their answer. They realized that the right decisions often bring calm instead of confusion. From that moment forward, they stopped searching for certainty outside themselves and began trusting the quiet wisdom growing within. This may resonate as we continue, because sometimes the strongest answers arrive without making the loudest noise. Looking back, they now see every challenge differently. What once felt like obstacles have become lessons. Moments of silence became opportunities for reflection. Unanswered questions became invitations to grow. They no longer believed the story was filled with setbacks. Instead, they believe it was preparing both hearts to understand the value of sincerity, patience, and compassion. That realization became the foundation of the big decision they made about you. It was never based on fear or pressure. It was built on respect, gratitude, and the hope that meaningful connections deserve honesty above everything else. As this journey comes to an end, remember the message that has echoed from the very beginning: some of life's greatest turning points happen quietly, long before anyone else notices them. Whether this story reminds you of your own experiences or simply encourages you to reflect, let it be a reminder that every new day offers another opportunity to choose understanding over doubt and hope over fear. The person you love has made their decision, and regardless of what tomorrow brings, that decision has already changed them for the better. Thank you for staying until the very end. Your time, your attention, and your willingness to reflect have been part of this journey from the first word to the last. Until our paths cross again, carry this thought with you: the most meaningful chapters are often the ones that begin with a single quiet decision made from the heart. And perhaps, this is not the end of the story at all, perhaps it is only the beginning of a brand new chapter waiting to unfold.